Hey, how's it going? My name is James P. White from 95.7 Cruise FM, the locker room, and welcome to Pink Shirt Day discussion. I'm so excited about this. This is the first time I've done it with a panel of so many great people. Before I bring in all my great guests, I'm just going to lay out how this is going to work. So exactly how this is going to work is everybody's going to introduce themselves. We're going to tell you our stories and the struggles that we've had growing up and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be, we're all going to get a chance to talk. But save your questions for the end. So the last half of this presentation is basically going to be answering whatever questions you have of any of us. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm so looking forward to this. I'm really excited. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. Now, right now, what I'm going to do is I want to bring everybody in right now and get everybody to introduce themselves. So here we go. So let's start out. Mercedes, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Mercedes Nickoll. I'm a 4-time Winter Olympian in snowboard halfpipe, and I'm coming from you today from Whistler, British Columbia.
Okay, Jesse.
Hey, I'm Jesse Lumbsdon, 3-time Olympian in bobsleigh. Mercedes and I competed together for Team Canada, and I'm a former running back in the CFL. Played with the Ticats, the Eskimos, and the Calgary Stampeders, and I'm coming from you in Calgary.
Kelly.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kelly Fallardeau, and I'm calling from Edmonton, and I'm a burn survivor. I got burnt when I was 2 years old to most of my body. So, and now I'm a 7-time best-selling author. I was voted for Entrepreneur of the Year, Woman of Distinction, and I'm just here to inspire you.
Awesome. And I'll give you a quick introduction to myself. As I said, I'm from the morning show on 95.7 Cruise FM. But I used to travel the country talking to kids about bullying and teasing and all the harmful effects of that. I used to travel with a little person's basketball team called the Canadian Half Pints. We used to talk to kids about exactly what we are right now. I'm so passionate about it. I'm so excited. It's so cool to have everybody here. Now let's get started with the stories. So Mercedes, can you tell me a little bit your story, like what brought you here today?
Yeah, so I have a podcast called Dropping In with Mercedes, and I'm lucky enough to be on the Dean Blundell Network, and I've met you before, and we've chatted on Dean's show, and I'm here to answer some questions, talk about bullying, how it affects people, how it affected me when I was younger. I'm a 4-time Olympian, and still people are not always kind, so I'm just here to share that story and I can give a little background on my Olympic story. I went to, now I can't say the last 4 Olympics because Beijing just happened, but the ones prior to that ending in Pyeongchang, a lot of ups and downs being an athlete. But yeah, I'm here to just listen and also share some stories.
Okay, can you tell us a quick little story, what inspires you about Pink Shirt Day? Like, what does that mean to you?
When I was growing up, it wasn't always cool as a snowboarder to go to the Olympics. The first Olympic snowboarding was 1998, and there's kind of a core group of snowboarders, and I definitely got made fun of a lot, poked at, and in looking back and reflecting, full on like bullied about choosing the route that I took going to the Olympics. Though from the world stage, it looks like it's amazing and cool. Always behind the scenes, there's something going on. And I think Pink Shirt Day is a great day to be able to hear from peers, hear from others, and share stories and kind of help others know that they're not alone out there.
And the fact that you made it through it, like as you said, you're a gold medal winner, and you pushed through all the negative, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have to overcome it, and I mean, you have to have thick skin sometimes, but also, like, a thing that I think about is when I was in high school is that kids that maybe, like, bullied me or weren't kind, like, you never know where that person's gonna end up. So another thing is to think about, like, being kind to everyone because you just don't know. Like, you could be going for a job, and that could have been the person that you were bullying. So how's that gonna pan out for you?
That's a great point. Hey, Jesse, can you tell us a little bit about your story and why you're here? Why Pink Shirt Day is so important?
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Similar to Mercedes, I've known Dean for a long time, and we reconnected when he started his podcast back up, and I've been on the podcast a couple times, and then connected with Mercedes. But Pink Shirt Day is important to me. I got two little ones at home, so um, when I was a little kid, like early grade school, I was bullied a lot. I was an odd kid. I was awkward. I was a bit of a loner, and I eventually grew out of it. But definitely, I also had sticking out ears, and I had them actually surgically pinned back when I was about 16 years old because it bothered me, and I got teased about it quite a bit as a kid. Um, but it's especially with the last couple of years with everything going on and the way that kids can when I went home, I was at home and I was left alone. Um, it's different nowadays. It's almost like you can't escape.
Mhm.
So it's just so important to be able to provide an outlet for the people who need somebody to talk to, but also for the people who are doing the bullying. And Mercedes, like you said, generally that comes from a place of insecurities, and everybody's dealing with problems that we know nothing about.
Mhm.
So to try to enable people to have better conversations and support people who might need the support, and those could be the bullies, but also providing a platform to the kids and the people who are being bullied to help them understand that there are ways around it and ways out of it and ways to grow through it. So it's a big part of why I'm here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Kelly, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, why you're here, why you're passionate about the same things, Pink Shirt Day?
You bet. So we lived on a farm and just outside of Spruce Grove, actually. And my cousins were throwing shingles on a fire, and a spark came out and landed on my dress. And I ended up getting burnt to 75% of my body. So my whole chest and back, my face, both my arms, I've got a bald spot, my legs, they're all covered in scars. And my scars could never go away. I've been in the hospital for 4 months when I was first burnt as a 2-year-old, and then every 2 years till I was 20, I'd have to go and spend a month in the hospital having more reconstructive surgery. And I still remember being in grade 5, and I walked past my teacher's desk, and this is what I saw.
Oh, yeah, I don't.
Oh,
And so, that picture saying Scarface with the scribbles all over it is what made me realize that the kids were calling me the Scarface girl. And I was devastated because I knew that my scars were never going to go away. And I remember being I think I was about 15 years old, and I remember praying to God and saying, "Dear God, please don't make me wake up in the morning. But if I have to, can I at least be scarless so I can be pretty like all the other girls? Thank you. Amen." And of course, I woke up, and of course, the scars were still there. And I thought I was going to be the ugly girl forever because my doctor couldn't make my scars away. God wasn't taking my scars away. And I thought, is this the way I'll be forever? And so I was devastated because I thought, this is going to be my life. I'm never going to be loved. I'm never going to get married. I'm never going to have kids. I'm never going to be beautiful. And it wasn't until I was 18 when I had my first kiss, and I did end up getting married, and I did end up having 3 beautiful kids. But then I ended up getting a divorce. And so, I always struggled with, trying to feel beautiful. And it wasn't until I was in my 40s that I actually realized that it's not what you look like on the outside. And you don't have to be flawless in order to be beautiful or in order to be loved. And so the reason Pink Shirt Day is so important to me is because nowadays people are being so bombarded with social media messages that you have to be flawless in order to be loved. And so it's my passion to help other people to understand that they don't have to be flawless in order to be beautiful or in order to be loved.
Wow. Sorry. Sorry, when I hear stories of other people going through pain, it bugs me a lot, because I was bullied for like obviously a different reason. I was a little person. I was beat up. I was thrown in lockers. I had a lot of really nasty things done to me. And the thing that bothers me the most is when I see it happening to other people, and hear stories and stuff like that. And wow. So I'll give a little bit of my story. As I said, I was bullied a lot when I was younger. I hated, not only did I hate who I hated going to school. Everywhere I went, people would point and stare and call me names, and then I'd react in a different way, and like say call them names back, and it got worse for me. Um, I was beat up, and a lot of nasty things happened. But one thing that I realized, and it took some friends, actually, it took one friend to help me realize that something about bullies. It made me realize. So there's this one guy. His name was Chris. He beat me up on the last day of school of grade 7. I ended up having to go to the hospital, get an emergency surgery done. I had it was rough, and but about when we went back to school in grade 8, he saw me in the hallway of school, and he apologized for what he did. He's like, I was wrong. I I really should not have done that. I Will you forgive me, and can we be friends? And it was it was easy to forgive him, because why not? We all make mistakes, and I forgave him. We were friends all the way through high school, even until I moved out of Tabor, where I grew up, uh, when I was 26 years old. We were still friends. We still talk every once in a while. But if someone wants you to forgive them, give them a chance. That's the one message that I would have, is because you you never know where that friendship is going to be. Like, he introduced me to a guy who's my best friend. I was the best man at his wedding. Some of my favorite people I learned from being friends with him. And you never want to close a door. Even we all make mistakes. That's kind of where I want to end that one at. So that's kind of my story. Now, before we go into questions, do either of you, because we're a little bit ahead of time, a touch, is there any last thing that you want to say before we get into the questions? We're going to give you a after out in a second. Is there any last thing you want to say?
You know what? Go ahead, Mercedes.
You go.
No, I think one of the things that I think that this panel has done a very, maybe you'll disagree with me, but there's Stoic philosophy is a big part of my life, and it came quite late in my life, but it has helped me understand a lot of things now. And the one aspect that I would want to convey onto people who are in this situation: you can't control what happens to you. You can't control what people say to you or what people do to you. You can only control how you respond.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing you're in control of. And if you can control that, you're putting yourself into a position of power. And then the other aspect of that is, when you know you can own that, you can take on more hardships. So I look back at, the very small portion of my life that where I felt like, I was being bullied, and everybody on this panel, if you can stand up and say, you know what, I'm glad it happened to me because I know I could get through it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good place to start.
100%.
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on the other side of it. I said I was bullied, but I'm not sure that those people know that they bullied me. I don't think that they would look back and be like, wow, I was really mean to her. And like, they don't know what affects you. And I've never told them that really hurt my feelings, what they said to me about the Olympics and what their feelings were. But again, it comes from their insecurities, because then these people tried to go to the Olympics too. And you're just like, yeah, you have no idea. And that's their own insecurity, just like Jesse was saying. And sometimes when people are bullying you, it pumps up their tires for like a minute maybe, and then if they actually take the time, if they were considerate humans, to reflect on what they just said and actually put themselves in someone else's shoes, they would hurt too, because it takes a big person to be able to step out of your own shoes and go into that other person's shoes, and not that many people can do it.
Awesome.
That's a great point.
Kelly, one last thing before we get into questions.
Yeah, I think what happens is that I think the thing is that people take everything to heart, and we don't always know how it was affecting us on the in the inside.
Mhm.
And I still remember in grade 5, not only about the Scarface thing, but my best friend, who was a guy, said to me, "I don't want to be your friend no more." And he started hanging out with the bully in our school, and I was like, "What? What do you mean you want to be like? Why? I don't understand." And that you don't want to be my friend anymore. But he wanted to be cool, so that's why he was being so mean to me, because that would have been the cool thing to do, right? But it was interesting because about 10 years ago I approached him about it, because apparently right from kindergarten to grade 5 we would have lunch together, and every day I shared my cookies with him, and I didn't remember that. And so anyways, he brought that up, that I had a crush on you right up until you quit sharing your cookies with me. And I was like, I said, well, you don't remember what happened, do you? And he goes, well, what do you mean? I said, well, you came up to me and you told me you didn't want to be my friend anymore. And he had no idea. Like, he couldn't even remember that he had done that. And he apologized. I mean, it was not something that he ever intended to do, was to hurt my feelings. But, it's interesting because I hung on to that for so many years. And, I think what we really need to do is also learn how to take care of ourselves. And yeah, those things happened when we were kids, but it doesn't have to carry on with us. And we have to learn to let go of those feelings so that we can still move forward. And so that's one of the messages that I want to share with people, is that, just like Mercedes says, sometimes people don't know that they're hurting each other's feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One thing, it was in the comments that was just put on the screen that I found really powerful. We haven't really touched on it. Is the bystanders, high explosive? Bystanders have a role in stopping bullies too. Stand up and protect others. Don't laugh. Don't encourage the negative behaviors of the bully. And if enough people stand up and say stop it, pretty soon between the victims and the bystanders, they outnumber the bullies. They outnumber the people that are picking on people and being mean. And it's the same thing on social media. Like if you have people commenting on social media and saying all this negative stuff about someone, it takes that one person going, this is not right. This you cannot like, you're not helping the situation. You're making it worse. You're making it harder on that person. And if enough of us say it, it can stop. And that's just something that just came up from one of the comments there, that I totally agree with, is the
Takes
bystanders have the power to help.
takes a lot of courage to do that, though, and that's not an easy thing to do either.
No,
And it's easy to sit back and almost try to be a shadow to not be seen, and
or even
you know,
bring it to someone's attention, like a teacher,
totally.
or like even behind the scenes. You don't like, or just not laugh. Like,
well, even nowadays, it would be like sharing something on social media, like a meme or something that maybe the kids made up, and it's taking that instant to, oh, if I share this with someone or a group of people, what's that going to feel like for the person who's in the meme, like who's in this photo? Like, just take that second to not do it and like think about it.
yeah, like DaCosta said, he had to move an hour away because the bullying didn't stop, and that's wow, no one should go through that, and anyone, and like we all have the right to be who we are and not be bullied. So we're probably going to get more into the bullying topic coming right away. So why don't we get into the questions? And so if you have any questions about any of us or about all of us, just send them in to the comments, and Rook will help me get this going. Okay. Oh, he's got one on. Okay. Never mind. I should learn how to read. Okay. Has the bullying persisted into adulthood for each of us? So is there still, even with all our successes, are people still picking on you? So let's start. We'll do it in the same kind of order. Mercedes, you go first.
I mean, I kind of have this thicker skin now, so if people say things, I don't really let it affect me as much as I would have when I was younger. And yeah, of course, there's these people on their keyboards that have not nice things to say all the time. But I'm lucky enough to not have probably as many as Dean. um, it's not an easy world out there with social media, I can tell you that much.
Okay, awesome. Jesse, same question.
Yeah,
does it still persist?
not. It has, like, it's, people are just, like you said, don't go on Twitter. If something bad happens to you and you're in the public eye, don't go on Twitter, because it is ruthless out there. But again, hiding behind a screen, those people should not have any power over you. At the end of the day, and to be honest with you, I can full out say, I come from football and team sport, and teasing and joking around, and I've probably said things to some of my teammates that actually hurt them. And I try to be really careful with that now, because I know the impact it can have on people. So, especially people you care about. But I love the meme that it's like, Bob sees something he doesn't like on the internet. Bob doesn't respond or say anything about it. Be like Bob. And if more people were like Bob, I think we'd have a lot less, of this sort of cyberbullying that's going on. But biggest thing, I think, if you're in the public eye, or if you're putting yourself out there on Twitter, and my wife was just doing the CBC broadcasting and did an amazing job for bobsleigh, and she's a CSA award winner at it. And people still come on and say, "Oh, this was bad and this was bad and you didn't do this." And it's just like, you can't win. So it's better, again, to choose how you respond and say, "I'd rather this happen to me than somebody else, because I know I can handle it."
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you, Jesse. Kelly, how about you?
Well, I think, just like Mercedes was saying, you have thicker skin. And what I've done is learn to ignore the people who are trying to bully me. So, for example, one time on YouTube, I did a little YouTube video to support someone who was being bullied. And then and I was telling the story, of the Scarface, right? I was saying that someone had drawn this picture of me. Well, so someone commented and said that I was a liar, and they were calling me a nasty name. Well, that bully wanted a fight. Well, I chose not to fight. So it was a comment on YouTube, and I just chose to, you know what? I don't need to fight this. Like, I have better things to do with my life than to fight with a troll on YouTube. So I chose to ignore it. And I think that that's something that people have to do is pick your battles. Is it really worth fighting with somebody on Facebook or on social media? Or is it better to walk away? And I just believe most times it's better to walk away.
Awesome. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of answer my same kind of scenario. I get people pointing, staring, making comments. But like you always get the odd look, but my favorite thing to do, and I do it all the time, is especially in a mall or in a busy place when kids are pointing and saying things and asking their parents questions about me, like why does he look older than you, but he's my size. I like to answer if I overhear it, I'll introduce myself. I'll say things like, hey, how old are you? Like, and especially if it's a 5 or 6 year old. Well, I'm 47, and it gets people talking. I don't do it as much for me. Like I don't do it because of the fact because I care what the comments people are saying. I say it for other people like me. So if there's a little kid that was going, or like a person like smaller in stature that was going through the same thing that I did, I want that the person that I meet to know that I'm no different than anybody else. That's the big message I always tell everybody. I'm no different. I just didn't grow. And then that's my favorite to do with that. So yeah, I still go through it, but I have fun with it sometimes. Okay.
I mean, I still get stared at. Like, there's times when I go to the mall or if I go to a swimming pool, definitely I get stared at. And, because people don't like, or they're curious about my scars, right? Like they don't know what it is or what happened to me. And so I still get stared at quite a bit. I don't notice it much anymore because I've learned to tune it out. But people who are with me notice it more than I do. And then they say, oh my God, aren't you mad at that person? They're staring at you. But what I have to realize is that not everybody is staring at me because they think I'm ugly. They could be staring at me because they're curious. They want to know what happened. Or maybe they're worried about me or they're concerned about me. Or maybe they think I'm beautiful. Whatever it is, I had to learn to stop worrying about what everybody thinks about me. And so I think that that's what we have to do is learn how to stop worrying about everything. I still get asked what happened. Definitely people will ask me that, but I don't consider that being bullied. I just consider that people are curious. And depending on how they ask me determines, what story I tell them. Sometimes I feel like telling the long story, sometimes the short story. It all depends on my mood. So
Awesome. Thank you. That was a great one. Oh, this is from Jillian. What is the most difficult moment you had when being bullied? Let's start with you, Mercedes.
I think it's that loneliness that just like you kind of feel like a coward because you can't stand up for yourself, and the loss of words and kind of that like awestruck and like what, like why me, like why are you picking on me, like. And now being an adult and understanding that that's kind of their insecurity showing through, it does make me feel better. But when I was bullied when I was younger, it was very much so that loneliness of like I'm all by myself and no one's by my side to be like, let's fight back or anything. I think that's it.
Oh wow, thanks, Mercedes. Jesse.
Yeah, as a little kid, for sure, it's the loneliness and actually then the belief that somebody is telling you what the truth is, and it's not the case at all. There was a question, I don't know if we'll get to it, but about the media, but I'll just touch on it. I mean, I went through a string of injuries where the media just absolutely just crucified me as being a crappy football player because I got injured a bunch, and I actually lost faith in my own ability to play football. And I was at the highest level that I could get to. And it took a lot of hard work for me to get back to the point where I was like, I do this because I love it, and it's because it's fun, and it's because but it took a lot of work and a lot of supportive people, and for me to get that confidence to be able to just go back out and play again. But especially when you're a little one, it's just the best thing you can do is, one, go to the people who love and support you, because they're always going to tell you the truth. And people who aren't in that group, if you hear something from them and you have a question, go take it to somebody that that I like to call it like my pillars, my pillars that keep me up. So they could be your best friends, you could be your family, and tell them what you heard, and they will tell you the truth, and they will tell you exactly what you need to hear, which is going to be what's going to help you get through that.
Oh, wow. Okay. That was a great answer, Jesse. I can't even remember what the question was.
Sorry, I went on a rant.
No, it's not. It's not you.
Question 8.
Yeah. Does anyone remember what the question was? I kind of got focused on.
I don't remember either, Jimmy. Just go on to the next question.
Okay,
though.
we'll just nail the next question. Sorry about that, guys. I've already told my story dealing with this, so I'll let you guys touch on this one. Have any of the bullies that you've dealt with in the past ever reached out to apologize?
I actually had a girl from high school reach out to me and on Facebook, and she said to me, Cal, I don't know if I ever bullied you, but if I did, I really feel bad about it, and I'd really like to apologize. Turns out she never had a bully to me, so there was no reason for her to apologize, but she thought maybe she may have said something, and maybe she did, but I'm also half deaf, so I don't hear everything that everybody says, so she may have, but I don't know. So that's the only time that somebody has ever reached out to me and apologized.
Awesome. Either of you two, Jesse or Mercedes?
I actually I reached out to somebody that I teased when I was older, that was on my team later on in life, to apologize. And I don't know if it came back and it didn't necessarily impact them negatively, but it hearing more and trying to understand more and be more empathetic to other people's situation made me realize that I need to check in. And I'm glad it wasn't perceived the way that I was portrayed in my mind. But in regards to the actual question, has anybody reached out to me? No, but it was when I was in grade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's like, I don't even really remember the people that I was with then. I mean, football does that to you.
Yeah. Okay.
Jesse, I'm so glad you said that, because I was going to say something similar, and I was like, I'm owning up to kind of bullying. I haven't had anyone reach out to me because I don't think that they realized that they were bullying me. And when I was little in like kindergarten, I had kids coming in and being like, "What's up, Benzo?" And I was so confused because my name's Mercedes, and like that's a form of like, I confused little kid. So no one's reached out to me, but I did a coaching course, and I just kind of reflected on things that I'd said to teammates. And when you're in a male dominated sport, you kind of want like to initiate the younger kids, and I gave a kid a nickname, and when I reflected on that, I was like, he didn't like that nickname. That was a form of bullying. And so I reached out and apologized to them. And again, same as Jesse, like, I don't think it had a huge impact on his life, but being able to acknowledge that and follow through with that personal acknowledgement and keeping that friendship, I think, is important.
Okay. I'll ask this to everyone. Have you stood up to bullying, either as an adult or as a kid? Like, either if you've seen it happen to somebody else or something of that, or as both a kid or as an adult. Do you guys have a story that deals with that? You stood up to a bully. Mercedes.
I have. In Whistler, it's a very small community, and growing up, a lot of the older kids would pick on the younger kids, and mostly guys, and they would get into fights, and I would be that person to stand in the middle, being like, "Why why are we doing this? Like, just stop. Not the safest thing. I don't recommend it. There's definitely other ways to go about it. But yeah, I would want to be that voice of reason if I see something that's not right, that really devalues another person. I will definitely speak up. But that's my personality, and that's not for everyone, I would say.
And how did that feel? Like, kind of standing up for someone, or
Oh, it
how did you
just
feel
felt like
doing
that
it?
was the right thing to do, like, there was no, like, second thought in my head. It was just the right thing to do, and that comes with the values that you're grown up with. So if, you just get instilled with these values of knowing that a human being is just as important as another human being, and people's feelings get hurt, and there's no reason to be doing that.
Awesome. Jesse, same question. Have you stood up to a bully, and kind of how did it feel?
Yeah, I'm in a different position now as a grown man, and pretty physically fit, and in some cases pretty can be intimidating. So I shut that shit down pretty quick if I see it. Oh, pardon my language. Yeah, yeah. If I see it amongst peers or teams, and if it's kids, that I try to, you can't necessarily take that approach, but it's just more about creating awareness around the situation. Because if I were to come in with heat on kids, it would be looked at as the same way.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm trying to figure out too with my kids. I have a 4.5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I can see my 4.5-year-old, picking on my 2-year-old, and it can be, it's hard not for me to like go aggressive and be like, you can't do that, da 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 da, because all I'm doing is reinforcing that behavior to her, and I need to work on that, and I need to figure that out. So it's something that I'm continuing to try to work on.
Oh, thank you, Jesse. That's that's good. You bringing up with your kids and how to interact with them when they're kind of picking on each other. Uh, Kelly, same question. Have you ever stood up to a bully, either that was bullying you or somebody else?
It's interesting because I'm trying to think of a situation, and the only situation I can think about is when a guy stood up for me, and that was in grade 6. And I remember being in school, and I remember this one kid that always, every time he saw me, he would call me some sort of name, and I can't remember what it was. Fortunately, Todd was standing behind me, and he actually stood up for me, and he said, you know what, if you're going to pick on somebody your own size and quit picking on a girl. And so this kid actually eventually got kicked out of school because I wasn't the only person that he was bullying. So yeah, so it was really cool to know that someone else was seeing that I was being bullied and picked on.
Wow. Thank you so much with that one. I'm actually going to respond to that same question about have I ever stood up to a bully. I remember I was in grade 8, and all these big guys from the football team. No offense, Jesse. Uh, they were picking on a, a special needs child, and they were getting him to do crazy things and laughing at him, and I didn't like it. Uh, you know, I did not laugh. I stood up and said, "Hey, you guys need to stop. That's not fair to. It's not fair to him. You need to leave him alone." They didn't leave him alone. They didn't like. Obviously, me saying anything didn't stop anything. So I did what I should have done. What I should have done, and is exactly. I went down and I talked to the principal. I said, "Hey, this is what's going on. It happens every lunchtime, and it's it's not right. Like something has to be done." And I was by some of the kids in the class, I was called the snitch, but I didn't care. I will not put up with someone being bullied, whether it's me or somebody else. And we if we all did that, if we all kind of, either said something or talked to someone, it would eliminate a lot of that kind of stuff. That's just my personal opinion. Okay. Uh, okay. So here we go. Uh, uh, a question that students are asking: did you have the courage to tell an adult? If you did tell an adult, did it help? Okay, I kind of touched on that with my story. So, Mercedes, did you tell an adult, or
Yeah,
even in your case with the fact that you were kind of picked on by other athletes. Did you talk to someone like a coach or something in the same kind of vein?
I didn't talk to a coach. I just more talked to my friends about it. More for like validation that like, okay, this isn't cool, but I'm still gonna do what I'm gonna do because this is my choice. Um, I kind of more so brushed it off, but I think talking to other people and not just keeping it inside. I don't think it has to be an adult. I think, just as Kelly touched on, having that one friend stick up for her, it does mean the world. And having that understanding from another person, and then you guys can talk about it and then feel better a little bit.
Awesome. Jesse, same kind of scenario. Either again, talk to an adult or someone you respect when dealing with bullying.
I think I came home crying a couple times as a kid, probably from school, and my parents asked what was going on. But I don't actually remember having like a definitive conversation with my folks or with a teacher. I know my parents and my family loved me very much, and they would have been there to support me. So it's I'm thankful that I again had really, and I was a little guy, so I didn't even really understand what it was about at that time of my life. But it when my parents would see me in that state, they would be there for me, which was always very, very important.
Thank you, Jesse. Uh, Kelly, same kind of question.
Mm.
Telling it out.
No, I didn't. As a child growing up in school, it was not accepted to talk to an adult or anybody about what was going on. So no, I didn't tell anybody. And it wasn't until I was an adult and then my mom found out what was going on and she's like, why didn't you tell us so we could have done something? And, I still remember sometimes with my parents, I would say something, I was feeling sorry for myself and my parents would say, well, just suck it up.
Mhm.
And so, we didn't have the same kind of support for bullying back then, in the 80s that we have now. And back then too, it wasn't called bullying, it was called teasing. So we were being teased or stared at or whatever. So no, I didn't. I mean, I don't think it was until high school when I talked to one of my school counselors about it. But like my younger years, no, I didn't tell anybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, we will answer a couple more questions in a bit, but I know a couple of the members of may have to leave a bit early. So I want to ask each of you a question. I kind of want your answer on this one. What's the one message above anything of dealing with Pink Shirt Day that you want to leave with everybody watching today? Mercedes, you go first.
Why don't we go to Jesse?
Okay, why don't we go to Jesse first? Since he's
Yeah,
the one that has-
I think I'm the only one that's got to hop off, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I would say just that you're not alone. Like it
Mhm.
feels lonely, but you're not alone. And find the people that you can count on and lean into them, because the people that you can count on are going to be there for you, and you're going to be there for them when they need you. That's my biggest takeaway. If you are the bully, and if you're using that as an outlet, whether it's online or in person, it's the same thing. You get so much more joy out of supporting somebody than putting somebody down. It might make you feel better and more empowered for a brief moment, but it doesn't actually help you and help the problems that you're dealing with as well.
Mhm.
So it's either way, it's at the end of the day, if you're lifting people up, you're going to get way more and feel way better about it than you are than putting people down. It's going to last a lot longer too, and it's going to get you a lot farther in life.
Awesome. Thank you, Jesse. Jesse, if you need to take off, thank you so much
Thanks
for
for having me,
joining us
Jimmy.
in the whole group. And we are going to answer a couple more questions for those who want to stay for a couple more minutes. But thank you, Jesse. Mercedes, same kind of thing. What's the one message you want to leave everybody?
It would have been that you're not alone, but Jesse took that, which is totally fine and 100% true. But I would reiterate that in a very similar way Jesse just touched on, is being kind to others is like less energy, but way more fulfilling. So just think about that. Like, put yourself in that other person's shoes. If you're about to say something negative to someone, why not be like, your hair looks great today? Rather than just putting them down, and understand that when you put someone down, it hurts them, but it also hurts you, if not in the right then, in the long term. So yeah, my advice is to be kind to everyone, because also you don't know where you're going to end up. Like I said in the beginning, that could end up being your boss down the line. Will you get hired from that person? Got to think twice about that one. Be kind.
Thank you, Mercedes. Kelly, same question. What's the one message you want to leave?
The one message I'd love to leave with everybody is, focus on what's beautiful about yourself and other people. Instead of focusing on so much on the negative and the stuff that goes on in life, focus on the positive stuff. So I think what happens is that a lot of people are just too scared to turn off their social media. And you need to, like, that's, I think, the difference between, me growing up as a young one and the kids nowadays, is that I almost had like two different lives. I had like a home life and I had a school life. And now, this generation has social media and they're bombarded with messages 24 hours a day. And I just want you guys to turn off your phones and just be present with you, yourself, your family, your loved ones. And, realize that just focus on what makes you the best version of you. And I think that is so much, like, that's what you need to do, is focus on the positive stuff that's going on in your life and tune out all that negative stuff that doesn't count in your world. So, just be you and have fun, and don't worry so much about all that negative stuff that's going on. Focus on the positive stuff. Do things you love. Like, so many times people are doing things they hate. Do what you love to do, and get good at it, and have a community of people around you that support you that way.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Now I have a quick message. It'll be really quick. It kind of deals with a question I'm always asked whenever I've done these Pink Shirt Day discussions, is would I change anything of what happened to me in the past? As I said, I was bullied. I was picked on. I hated going to school. But guess what? I'm still here. It made me who I am. If I didn't go through some of the challenges and some of the hard things that I went through, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be in radio. I wouldn't be doing some of the stuff that I do. I'd probably still be living in the small town I grew up in, Tabor, and I wouldn't have ventured out and tried something new. I wouldn't change anything that happened to me. And we all get on the other side of it. Eventually, the bad stuff stops and good always, jumps, takes its place. And that's kind of the message, is to just push through. We all get on the other side eventually.
Yeah, I love what you say about that too, Jimmy, because I get asked that also. Would you change anything? Would you go back and not be burnt? And the truth is that as an adult, as a child, I definitely would not have wanted to be, the Scarface girl. Definitely wouldn't have wanted that. But as an adult, when I look back at my life and I see all the things that I've done, and, I've done TEDx talks, I'm an international speaker, I've won all these awards, and now I'm inspiring other people, then as an adult, no, I wouldn't change a thing.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly. Now, we'll take a couple more questions because I know everybody's got to go back to class and some people have to go back to work. Do you have any advice for people about when your friends are being bullied? So let's start with you, Mercedes.
Yeah, I think I touched on this before. It wouldn't be like what Kelly said, like her friend chose to be friends with the cool kids. I mean, what if your friend is the cool kid and they're still getting bullied? It's kind of about being there for them. It doesn't have to be in the moment and like telling the bully you're wrong, because that can be really scary. I think it comes down to being there as a friend and having their back and being like, no, man, I think you're cool. And what they said isn't right. Um, it's not always easy to be the bigger person and kind of brush things off your shoulders and pretend like it never happened. So don't be afraid to just have that discussion away from the situation, because it can make a world of difference to that friend that is getting bullied, to know again that that bully is not right, that that bully has their own issues that they need to deal with, and that you're still there for them.
Awesome. Thank you, Mercedes. Uh, Kelly, do you have?
I would say the same thing that Mercedes said. I think it's, just be there for your friend and support them as much as you can. And if it means reaching out to an adult, then do that, because sometimes what happens too is um, the friend sees a different situation than the other person, and so it's always good just to reach out to somebody and have that friend close to you.
Thank you so much. My message is kind of for people that see your family being bullied. Uh, my my family, my brother, my sisters, and my mom really have a hard time when people make fun of me, even if it's in fun. Even when I'm part of the thing where I'm not really being bullied, but it kind of looks like I'm being bullied, is, you know what? I totally love the fact that, my family care and they're worried and all that kind of stuff. Is just, if you see something, question it. If you see something that you don't think that that you think is bullying, question it and always support your family members. I know when I was younger, my little sister, uh, when I say little sister, she's 5'10" and I'm 4'2", and she's 2 years younger than me. Um, is She really took the brunt of people picking on me, because she'd stand up for me and then she'd get picked on too. Is as family or even friends, we have to stick together. And if you need to, stand up for your family or friends, it's all good. It's always good to show them that you care by saying something. As there's look after one another is just a message that just came in. That's exactly what we have to do as family or even as friends, or with the fact that we're in this group right now. I classify you guys as my friends. We have to look after each other. And we'll take one more question and then we're going to bow out because people are dropping out because they got to go back to class or whatever. Uh, oh, any insight in workplace bullying? Uh, like being bullied by, you know, bosses or coworkers. Mercedes?
Yeah, it's super interesting. I think about it. In a work environment and work dynamic, I always find that if there's like three people working together, two of them are friends and one is on the outside, and it doesn't feel good. Um, so I think it's always just checking in on where everyone's at, how they're feeling, but also not having those kind of like inside jokes, because it still makes the other person that's on the outside feel really bad, and out of the loop. So I think being inclusive and understanding and opening up those lines of communication, that's really what it comes down to. Talking, having those hard talks, which again take a bigger person to come forward and talk about.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Mercedes. Kelly?
I don't think I've ever struggled with workplace bullying, especially not in regard to my scars. But I do remember an incident of something that happened. I was working at a brand new place and I'd only been there a couple of days. And I was actually crying in one of the offices. And so the boss saw that I was crying. And so he came in and he said, "Are you okay? Like, are my team members, are they treating you okay? Like, are they, like, because he thought that maybe it was his team that was bullying me, because of my scars and because I was brand new there." And I said, "Oh, no, 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 no. The reason I'm crying is just I'm going through a divorce, and so, that's why I was upset." So I think that's part of it, is that we never know what's going on in other people's lives, and so what we may think is one situation could actually be something different. So I think it just means that we just need to be more understanding of what is going on in people's lives, and they might not be willing to talk about it, right? So we just need to be more kind to people and more understanding that there could be a million reasons why someone is upset or doing something, right? Like sometimes people are saying mean comments and it's not because they want to hurt people's feelings. It could be because something's going on in their life and they don't know how else to handle it. And maybe they're not recognizing that they're being rude or mean to people. So I think we just have to have more patience and understanding with people.
And also, we've touched on it a couple of other times. Whether you're at school, you're in your family, you're at your workplace, we all have to stand up for each other. We all have to stand together as a group, and support each other and care, and not even just fake, just go, "Oh, I have to like him because he's my brother," or whatever. But the thing is we all have to stand together at work, in the community, and at school and home. And that's the biggest message when it comes to any of that, is if we all stand together, it's done. It's, there's no room for it. I need to thank both you ladies, Mercedes and Kelly, for jumping on with me. And of course, and of course, Jesse, uh, this, this has been the biggest, most moving day for me when it comes to Pink Shirt Day, and the number of people that we reached. It's so cool. I need to thank you, as well as I need to thank, Rook, who's behind the scenes, is putting all the messages on the screen, and then of course the Dean Blundell Network, uh, giving me a platform in which we could do this. I know it's going to happen again next year, and I can just feel it. I love the whole thing. Thank you to you two for joining me, and thank everybody else that jumped on and participated. I hope it was what you were expecting, and have a great Pink Shirt Day, and give somebody a hug. And again, thank you so much.